Play different.
Greetings fellow Mac addicts. In this video we're taking a look at Rogue Invader, a strategic run and gun game from Squishy Games. Now, I marked this video as sponsored, but no money has exchanged hands. Squishy Games reached out to me and asked if I wanted a free copy to review, and I agreed, so that's why it's marked as such, but I'll be giving my honest opinion. As for why Squishy contacted me, and why I chose to cover it on my Mac-focused channel, well, just look at it. The aesthetic is heavily inspired by the look of black and white Mac software. The menus make me feel like I'm fiddling with a high-production hypercard stack, and the actual game reminds me of titles with large detailed sprites, like Creepy Castle, despite the game being in 3D. And I gotta say, I think this game's style is incredible. I adore how everything looks, from the environments, to the UI, to the xenomorphish enemies. The game itself is quite unique, feeling like a cross between the turn-based strategy game XCOM and a run-and-gun game with mouse aiming like Abuse. Basically, you're beamed down onto a planet and have to make as much progress to the right as possible, with enemies and environments changing the further you get. One of the XCOM influences comes from the use of cover. Both the player and enemies can use structures that can help block shots, giving different levels of protection depending on the height of the object and if you're crouched or not. Of course, most of this cover can also be destroyed. But this isn't a turn-based game. It's all action, baby. Well, not quite. All of the gameplay is real-time, but there are lots of things to consider. Before you drop a soldier onto the planet, for example, you can equip them with whatever equipment you happen to have. While on the planet, you can also beam up technology that can be researched to unlock new equipment with different qualities, and also turn collected items into resources which can be used to build said equipment. You can also fit weapons with different mods. Basically, you can work towards making soldiers cater to both your playstyle and the circumstances they'll face on a planet's surface. A lot of this was also influenced by XCOM. Once down on the planet, your soldier can move around in all directions like a beat-em-up, and a crosshair is moved around with a mouse to aim their weapon. 2 weapons can be held in your inventory at a time, you can melee, and you can also carry grenades and special items such as turrets. You also have to worry about how much you're carrying, as it will affect your speed and prevent you from jumping. There is a lot more to worry about too. Weapons can overheat and even break, you can run out of ammo if you're not careful, and sometimes there are storms or even giant worms that hunt you from under the ground. Now, I planned to only do an impressions video about this game, but I ended up enjoying it so much that I played it for hours longer than I intended. But as much as I enjoyed it, there are some issues. For one, the perspective can make things feel clunky, such as making your way around narrow ledges and jumping, and it can be annoying when things are obscured by foreground objects. Also, this is a roguelite game. You have an unlimited amount of soldiers to send down, but every soldier will have different traits and can be equipped with new items you unlocked, and the layout of the planet will change. Sometimes there will also be extra hazards to worry about, such as the giant worms I previously mentioned. I do enjoy roguelite elements, but there are some problems with them here. For one, some runs feel much more doomed than others, like when you get a soldier who has negative traits, such as decreased accuracy, but nothing positive to balance that out. Also, as with many other games with procedurally generated content, the changing layouts end up feeling very samey pretty quickly, and I feel there aren't enough hazard and enemy types to spice the different runs up. Luckily, I found the core gameplay enjoyable enough that I didn't mind the repetitive nature of the landscapes. One final nitpick, the hitbox for the slug monsters feels way larger than it should be. I felt I was unfairly bored quite a lot. But despite these complaints, I loved this game and played it for hours. If it sounds interesting at all to you, I do recommend checking it out, especially since they added an easier mode for people who found the original release too hard. It's available now on Steam for both Mac and Windows.